Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
Let's do that. Let's talk some sports. It is Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, Fox 2 app. I mean, you can see us a number of different places.
We're out here now.
Yeah.
As they say, we're out here.
You can be here for an hour. List all the places where you can find us. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, my friend. Doing well, feeling good. Excited for today. You know, obviously we have a huge guest. You know, when I found out I was going to be able to do a show with you, when we were going to have our own show, and I knew that we'd be probably able to get some people in, get some guests, there was always one person that jumped to the top of the list. There were two people that come to mind, and then one person jumps to the top of the list, and that person is Charles Woodson. Always wanted him on the show. He was the first guest that I ever wanted to get, the biggest guest, and then Randy Moss would be second.
And he'll be on our show today, Charles Woodson, coming up in about 25 minutes from now, 30 minutes from now. Dan Miller going to be joining us, too, to talk a little Turkey Day football. The Detroit Lions in the 3 o'clock hour. That's right, absolutely. And also, this was not planned where we both wore Michigan hats today. I wore I was looking for my Woodward Sports hat, and I couldn't find it. I was running out the door because I didn't work at Fox today, so I'm all discombobulated.
No wonder why you look so light.
Totally out of my routine today.
Yes, it was definitely it was planned but not planned. Yeah. We knew C. Wood was going to be on the show. You was wearing a Michigan hat.
Well, I have 3 hats, Tom Mazawey. Good afternoon to you. Looking good in your Woodward Sports sweatshirt. By the way, great holiday gift. Woodwardsports.com. Click on the shop tab. Yeah. There are a million different items you can choose from, and it is fantastic stuff. By the way, everybody in my family this year is getting Woodward Sports gear.
I love
That's their Christmas.
I love it. Happy doing, guys. Happy Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Looking forward to having a great show. Let's get it going.
I will say this, though. You know I'm complaining every week either about our pick segments or I'm complaining about my fantasy team. Got to complain about them both. Yesterday, playing against Spencer Rattler. Spencer Raxter in the back, Big Spence. And going into the game, I needed 24 points. Jimmy Garoppolo's balling out of control. I'm getting the points from Jimmy. Even Robbie Gould gets a field goal. So at the end of the game, it's looking good for me. I'm legitimately, and then I got the 24 points. I got a couple BS yards out of Colt McCoy and them because he had San Fran's defense. So he's sneaking defensive points and staying in it. But at the end, I'm like, yes, it's over. 99% chance to win, Ryan Ermanni, with 45 seconds left. 99% chance. I was Gucci. I was golden. They're in the red zone. They might even score a touchdown to really. That Joker throw it, and he throws an interception from 99% to 0.
People care more about your fantasy team than the WNBA and the World Cup combined.
This is true because that was interesting. That's why I didn't mention the other two. I led with that one.
No, but look,
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
He ripped the door off the hinges. Did you see the video?
2,200 plus 2,200.
I saw plus 1,800.
2,200. You could have gotten on Saudi Arabia.
Huge upset.
Not to mention the USA ties a team that hasn't been in the World Cup since 1962. Way to go, USA.
Right, we waited 8 years for that.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh! So we can get into all that if you want. Feel free, or not. I do want to start with the Michigan Wolverines, though. This is a huge week, and I think. You know, so many people, Braylon, are scouring all the blogs, trying to find out all the nuggets. Is Blake Corum going to play? Is Donovan Edwards going to play? And I think really what's going to happen is you're just going to turn on the television on Saturday, and that's when you're really going to find out. Everybody's got this nugget of information or that nugget of information. At the end of the day, we hope they play. I'm just not sure if they're going to.
Yeah, we live in a world where everybody wants things now. You can't wait till Saturday to find out what the lineup's going to be. You can't wait to find out December 7th what the Final Four is going to be for the college football season. You want it now. You want to do everything you can to try to find the best available angle to find that information. And simply the matter of fact is for the Michigan Wolverines, it's uncertainty. You don't know how injured Blake Corum is. You saw him passing out turkeys on Monday. He was noticeably limping. He was noticeably limping when he was passing out turkeys. That's not a good look. JJ hasn't necessarily shown you that he can beat you with the pass. He hasn't necessarily shown you that he can make those plays. Now, he made a huge play at the end of the game against Illinois to get the 4th and 3. They threw the ball to Gash. He gets the first down. That's a play. But last year, when you had Cade McNamara, you saw what he did against Michigan State. You saw what he did against Penn State. You saw him in moments, so you felt confident. You had a healthy Hassan Haskins. You had a Blake Corum that had a light injury, but you knew he was about 85% good enough to go. A lot of uncertainty for Michigan walking into Saturday in Columbus.
Let's take this one at a time here. Have you ever hyperextended your knee?
I have.
What's that like? Is that a pain thing? Is that a ligament thing? Is that something that he can play through?
Yeah.
What is that like?
It's all level of pain. It's all pain tolerance from each person, from person to person. How bad did you hyperextend? I mean, it's just like a finger. You know, you've hyperextended a finger before, and your finger's like out of whack a little bit. You got to keep doing this stuff. But the finger's much smaller than the knee. Like, everything goes back to place, but there's swelling in there. There's tightness in this. You might have overextended your ligaments to a certain extent, so now they got to get back into place. It really goes down to how well they take care of this in week. That training staff up there is top notch. I would know. I was up there. But this training staff is top notch. They'll put him in the best situation. Now he just got to hope that his body can recover and respond by Saturday.
Man, you hope, Maz, one of the two guys can go, Blake Corum or Donovan Edwards.
That would be awesome if they could.
Both teams, both backs.
They're both coming in injured. It is just the way it is. If anything, he's going to be suited up and he'll be a decoy. And hopefully the other guys could pick him up because that's their whole game plan. It's Blake Corum left, right, and center. And Donovan Edwards, you know what he could do. He's the unicorn. Hasn't had as good a year this year as he had in the past. Last year, I mean. But it is what it is, man. You got to play with the cards that you're dealt.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that. But the cards that Michigan is dealt versus the cards that Ohio State are dealt, it's a lot different. You look at Ohio State and you see guys come in and make plays, whether they're third year, fourth year, fifth year. Like, they always have next guy up mentality.
That freshman running back came in this week.
That's what. And
who is this guy?
He's probably better than the other guys.
How's he on the bench?
And that's where I was going with it. They always have a receiver. They always have a linebacker. They always have a running back that actually is just as good as the guys that start. So going into games, they're like, no, we're good. We're not necessarily worried about that. Meanwhile, Michigan, if Donovan's a little bit nicked up, if Blake doesn't play, you're like, who's next? And in the quarterback situation, shoot, if JJ doesn't play, you're like, oh, hell no. So
yeah, right. The quarterback, that's a whole different thing. Donovan Edwards, I keep hearing about this hand injury. Is this a pain thing? Is this something that you can wrap? I mean, it's hard to. He's such a receiving threat out of the backfield.
No, it's not that. You know what? Look at the same scenario last season. Michigan was in the same position almost. Blake Corum got injured a little bit against Penn State.
Was it Maryland?
I think it was before a Maryland game. It was Penn State. I think it was the Penn State game that he got a little nicked up with Michigan State. One of those games he got nicked in. So then in that Maryland game he didn't play. Remember? He didn't play, and that's when Donovan Edwards got off. But the following week he played against Ohio State and had 100 and some yards. He played. He was fine, but they just set him out because there was no reason he had to play in that game. I think you'll see a similar situation with Donovan Edwards, where he could have played last week against Illinois, but why? I think that's what you'll look at there. So I think he'll be fine.
Right. So we'll figure that out moving forward. They're going to have to pass the ball to win the game. They're going to have to get in a situation where they can't beat themselves. And I think one of the problems with backups is being unsure of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, just equate it to the Detroit Lions for a second. When you have Aiden Hutchinson who's playing balls to the wall, free and clear, knows his assignments, he's looking like an animal. First month of the season, he doesn't really know where he's supposed to be, doesn't know how to line up, and he's not playing so well. So hopefully if these backups come in, they at least know where they're supposed to be, because that's when mistakes happen. That's when accidents happen, when you don't know where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, you got to get lined up right. Yeah, that's the first thing in football. That's the fourth thing. First thing in football is getting lined up right. That's what we say. Guys got to get lined up right. Guys got to know adjustments. Guys got to know what they have in certain coverages and certain formations and personnels. So, I think Michigan will be fine because they've done a great job over the last 2-3 years in terms of getting their guys in the right spaces, teaching guys guys, etc. So Michigan should be in a good position. At the end of the day, you just got to go out there and you got to make plays. You know, this is Michigan. I don't want to hear, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You don't want to hear this, well, guys got to be ready, or this guy's not ready, or this moment's too big. This is Michigan. This is Ohio State. This is what you came to do. Guys got to be ready to play.
Yeah, and you want that defense to come in too. And look, one of the great parts about this Michigan football team this year is defensively what they've done. They lost 3 first-round picks, and they have not skipped a beat. One guy
better.
Yeah, and even
stat-wise.
One guy who has come in and been an absolute terror on that defensive line is Mazawey Smith. Here he is, Michigan-Ohio State week.
You play everything. You give everything to get to this point, 11-0. And we got a week to give everything we got to come out and be 12-0, go 1-0 this week. We striving for greatness every play, every game. It got to show up in practice first. And I just think that throughout the week, everybody knows how serious we got to take it. Everybody knows that we got to prepare the right way if we want to go out there and play the right way. And this is the type of game you really get up for. This is the type of game you come to Michigan to play.
Yeah, and he's echoing my sentiments right there. This is the type of game that you come to Michigan to play. You go out there this work week, you make it happen. You get in, you dial in, you focus on football, your assignment, and what you're supposed to do. These guys are ready. That's the one thing I can say about Jim Harbaugh. You look at them over the last 2 years, when they do press conferences, don't they always seem ready? When they do press conferences, don't they always tell you how dialed in and focused they are? We give him Blake Corum a lot of credit because every time he's after 165, 195 touchdowns, he's always focused. He's always staying the course. He's always staying on track and on cue. So I love that about these Michigan players in the last 2 years. One big thing they got to do, defense has played well, especially in the second half of games. I mean, you've seen the stats. The stats are ridiculous, 100 and blah, 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 to 20 now because Illinois did score a couple points. But the one thing they got to do, they've started slow in the majority of the last 7 games, Ryan Ermanni. Mm-hmm. They start slow. They dance with people, whether it's Penn State, whether it's Illinois, whether it's Maryland, whether it's – they start slow. They're in fights. And then all of a sudden in the second half, they make the second half adjustments, and they get on track, and the defense stops them. This isn't that type of game. This isn't Rutgers. This isn't Illinois. This isn't Penn State. This isn't any of those games you had. Iowa when you played at Kinnick Stadium. This is going to be a different team. You can't afford to not put up points in that first quarter. You can't afford to try to go back and forth with them. You got to score and stop them.
You mentioned Jim Harbaugh. He's one reason why I do feel confident that Michigan is going to beat Ohio State this weekend. Because if you listen to him talk, if you listen to the interviews that he's doing, if you read the quotes that he's putting out there, he seems like he's an extremely confident head coach heading into Columbus. I want your take on that.
Okay.
If the team feeds off that, why he is so confident, we'll get your take on that. I'll read you a couple of quotes from Harbaugh and more. Charles Woodson coming up in about 15 minutes from now. Dan Miller, top of the hour. Lots to get to. Lions, Michigan, Ohio State. We might even mention the Spartans today, potentially, maybe not. We don't know. First, a message from Custom Health Centers. I got on the scale today. 218 pounds. Do you know when I started Custom Health Centers?
235?
234.2.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe that?
See you.
Come on now, baby.
You just dwindling
Thanksgiving
away.
week. What is Custom Health Centers? It's customary to you. Whatever your body needs. That's right. What your body needs, they will find a program that works for you. Customize it for you. I'm down 15 and a half, 16 pounds and looking real good. Let me tell you.
Check you out.
Let's go. Call them today. Custom Health Centers, taking the willpower out of weight loss. 844-789-THIN. That number again, 844-789-THIN.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest in a home is Mike Phillips' top priority. Mike Phillips over at Legacy Williams, Keller Williams Legacy. They do an amazing job out there in Dearborn. They make you feel like community. That's because they are. 23 years in the game, he is number one for a reason. Experience, experience, experience. You will be his number one priority. So give him a call. 313-403-0011. Game on.
One of the reasons I'm so confident heading into this week, Michigan, Ohio State, is because the coach is confident. Jim Harbaugh is acting like a coach who not only hopes they can win in Ohio State, he expects to win at Ohio State. Just some of the quotes this week. I think you're going to find out that we're made of the right stuff. That's one of them. We're putting together a really good game plan, I think, that we'll practice this week and take down to Columbus.
Better than last week?
And hopefully put up more points than they do. Keeping track of Ohio State all season. It's like two superheroes going at it. Grateful for the opportunity to see what we're made of. This is a coach that's confident. And this is a coach that gives me confidence. If there is, we always talk about players taking on the personality of their head coach. I feel like this week I am taking on the personality of the head coach. A very confident guy sitting behind this microphone. And forget about the microphone. When I'm at home talking to my buddies on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're going to go. What do you think's going to happen on Saturday? Oh, we're going to go down there and win.
Yeah. You got to be confident. I mean,
I say we. They got $100,000 of my money. I'm saying we.
This is very true. This is very true. You bought a seat or two. When you look at it from this standpoint, the last 2 years, Jim Harbaugh has been very dialed in as it relates to the Michigan State game, as it relates to the Ohio State game, as it relates to opening up to his players, being more loose and kind of letting the younger guys, in terms of younger coaches on staff, have some fun and bring him into the fold. And I think it's gone well. I think his players trust him more, especially after what happened with the Minnesota deal. I think that was kind of like the last hiccup for Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. Like now they are locked in. They are loaded. They listen to him. And when you got a guy that's leading like that, you got a guy on his teams, with the exception, I mean, even the Michigan State loss last year, I won't put that on Jim Harbaugh. Has been a long time since I put a game on Jim Harbaugh. So they got the right confidence. They got the right structure. They believe they're more physical than Ohio State because they are and because they showed you last year. Whenever you're the most physical team, whenever you're the enforcer, you've always got more than a punch of chance.
You know, if you look at the Wikipedia, Maz, you know, if you just go to Michigan, Ohio State,
you always look at the rivalry.
You always look at the rivalry week. There is so much red in this century.
Yeah.
At some point, it's got to turn.
It's a bloodbath, literally.
At some point, it's got to turn. I mean, from 2001, the turn of the century, right? Michigan has won 3 times. They won in 03, Braylon's year.
Yep.
They won in 11, Brady Hoke. And they won last year.
Yep.
That's it.
Look at the last 10 years. We could put that tweet up. The last 10 years, it's
embarrassing,
there's 2 good games.
Man.
Just 2 games that Michigan's in the last 10 years.
You know, there's a couple ways to look at that. One way is that. One way is the right now, especially as a Michigan fan, especially as a Michigan alum, to sit here and talk about it. It's like, man, that's a bunch of whoopings. Because it is. It's bad. But the other way to look at it is sometimes that happens structurally in rivalries. They happen structurally when some teams change and other teams are late to the party. Look at this record. Yes, Michigan looks horrible and they're supposed to be a rival. But look at everybody else versus Ohio State. Everybody else from in the Big Ten has a bunch of butt whoopings from Ohio State too. If you look back in the 60s and 70s and 50s, you'll see a bunch of maize and blue. You won't see any Ohio State. But once they got on, once they figured out their niche, they got better and better and better. And now they've mastered that niche from 2006, I would say, to 2022. They've mastered their niche. They've mastered their identity. They don't change much. And that's why you're seeing the chinks in the armor. If you look from when they really got good with Cooper to Tressel and then Urban Meyer, The chinks in the armors, they're not physical anymore. All those teams with Cooper, all those teams with Urban Meyer, you had offensive linemen going in the first round. You had defensive linemen going in the first round. Like, they were physical, they were strong. Urban Meyer's starting to get it. I'm not hearing too much about Ohio State linemen. I'm not hearing too much about a Bosa or the next Chase Young. Not hearing about those guys. All I'm hearing about is C.J. Stroud and the wide receiver corps. I haven't even heard about a DB. And 5 years ago, this was DBU. They are no longer physical.
Put that last 10 graphic up, because Braylon, I think what you're seeing here is this. Look at 2018, 2019. They scored 118 points against Michigan in a 2-game stretch. 118 points.
Thank God they didn't play in 20.
In a 2-year stretch. And thank God they didn't play in 20.
100%.
That's right. Thank God they didn't. But Braylon Edwards, that is the physicality that Ohio State is missing. And 2019 in college is a long time ago.
Yes,
You're
it is.
talking about 3 years ago and a new head coach ago.
100%.
And Jim Harbaugh has it out for Ryan Day.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he took
Born
a
on
shot
third.
last year talking about some guys who are just born on third base. And by the way, Ryan Day has never beaten Jim Harbaugh
There you go.
as head coach in this rivalry. So, we always talk about people's daddies
Right.
and everything like that. Oh, Urban's your daddy. D'Antonio's your daddy. This, that, the other thing. Ryan Day, do you know who your daddy is?
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh is your daddy, Ryan Day.
It's Jim Harbaugh. And if you look at...
Just wait till
Yeah.
Saturday. And that, I didn't even mean for that to rhyme.
There you
Bars.
Wait till Saturday. Bars. Extreme bars. But if you look at Ohio State, the games that they've lost, the games that they've been in and almost lost, that structure is physicality. Look at the Oregon game last year. I saw the Oregon game last year. Kayvon Thibodeau didn't even play in that game, and they dominated the line of scrimmage. This is Oregon we're talking about. Oregon doesn't dominate anybody's line of scrimmage. Since Elodie Nada went there, they dominated the line of scrimmage. I said, we got a shot. Then they dominate the line of scrimmage. Michigan, it is against Ohio State. You even look at the game last year against Utah in the Rose Bowl. They struggle because they're no longer physical, and that's why teams that have chances against them, that's how it's because they dominate the line of scrimmage.
How different, and Maz, you talk about this all the time, and I hate this, but I pray that it happens. How different are game plans week to week?
Right.
Because I'm looking at this Illinois situation, and it's like, dude, come on. I know Illinois got a tough defense, but you're run the ball up the middle, run the ball up the middle, run the ball up the middle. And then your next series, run the ball up the middle, run the ball up the middle, third down, long, incomplete pass. I mean, from week to week, how different are these game plans, and can we expect anything different? Now, I don't want to say anything, because of course we can expect something different, but how different can this offense be, Braylon?
I was over talking to Charles. I'm sorry. Get back to me. What did you say? Go ahead.
How different can this offense be, game plan, week to week?
It can be. You can add some nuances in there, because what happens is you work on plays all season long, Ryan Ermanni. You work on plays from OTAs. You work on plays during training camp. You work on plays during the season, kind of little nuances to what you've already done. So that's already there. It's just a matter about using it. It's just a matter of the moment, just like the Eric All touchdown against Penn State in that moment. So they have plays that they've practiced that they can change too. It's just about having the confidence to trust it. It's about letting it go. And it's also about, you got a young guy in J.J. McCarthy. You got to guide him, but at the same time, somewhere along the line in this game, Ryan Ermanni, Jim Harbaugh is going to have to let J.J. McCarthy's hand go. At some point in this game, there's going to be a moment he's going to have to let his hand go and let J.J. become a man in this game.
College football playoffs tonight, Maz. We do not expect any movement in the top four.
Top six.
We expect. Is your mic on? I'm sorry.
I think
Oh
so.
yeah, you gotta get closer to it, Maz.
Oh, really?
Get closer to it, buddy. I know you're
shucks.
so used to holding it in your hand.
How about now?
That's good. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the guys in the back to clip me saying you're just so used to holding it in your hand.
Well, the top six is going to be the same as the AP top six.
Yeah.
I mean,
is it really? The one part about this that I'm really intrigued by tonight is where Alabama and Clemson are.
Yeah.
If Alabama is still ahead of Clemson, I think the Tigers could potentially be on the outside looking in no matter what happens.
That would be nice.
No matter
Who would you
what
rather
happens.
have in, Alabama or Clemson? As a college football fan,
As a college football fan, I'd rather have Alabama.
Yeah, Clemson
No doubt.
don't do anything for
No.
me. They just don't do anything for me.
And they really haven't. I mean, they haven't played anybody, and they haven't really looked good this year ever.
No.
Now, Michigan hasn't really looked all that great either, although they did pound Penn State into the ground and physically dominated Michigan State. But that night game sucked.
It did.
I mean, that was one of the more boring games I've ever watched in my life. It was almost more fun watching Michigan play Hawaii this year than that boring game.
Yep, I'm with you.
Up the middle.
It was a terrible game. It was against a terrible team. But you know what? They came back and did what they had to do. Michigan, just to go back to your point about changing the game plan, I've said all year, hey, maybe they're hiding something. Maybe they're holding back.
They have to be, don't they?
I don't know. Because last year you saw them open up a little against Penn State late, and then against Maryland they opened up the playbook, what the trick plays and all of that. But they haven't done that this year. They have not done that this year. I don't know what these guys are calling up there. They're just keeping it close to the vest, I guess. So I guess we'll have to see.
And that's the hardest part, too, is waiting for all this, right? I mean, college football playoff, I've mentioned it before, it's a television show, and if they have an opportunity to stick a one-loss Michigan or a one-loss Ohio State in there, they're going to do it. I really believe that.
Would you like to see, let's just say Michigan beats Ohio State.
Yeah.
Do you want Ohio State still? You're a Michigan fan.
Yes.
Do you want Ohio State in the 4?
Yes.
So you want another chance maybe to play them?
Yes. My dream Final Four?
It's all Big Ten.
Georgia 1, Michigan 2. Well, TCU is not my dream,
USC?
No, TCU is going to get in at 3, and then Ohio State 4. Michigan, USC 2-3, Georgia, Ohio State in the 1-4, and see where your chances are.
All right. That would be interesting, man. In case everything shakes out, to see a rematch of Michigan Ohio State in a final or a playoff. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, once Ohio State loses to Michigan, I'm done with them. I don't want to see them in there again. I don't want Michigan to have.
If they won.
I don't want a chance to possibly play Ohio State in the national championship game again.
Wouldn't that be something, though?
No, why would you want to play a team twice? Because if they beat you, you're gonna be like, damn, we shouldn't have played them twice. I would never want to play a team twice, whether it was Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, which would never happen. I would never want to play a team twice. You never want to play a team twice because no matter what happened that first time, you just never know what can happen the second time.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Come right back. When we do, we're expected to be joined by number 2, Charles Woodson. We'll do that next. But first, a message from Moneyball.
Check out MoneyBallSportswear.com. Listen, Desmond Ferguson, they do an amazing job over there at Moneyball. And this Friday, that's right, Black Friday, I will be there having a real good time kicking it. Giving you guys some discounts on some of that gear. The gear is fire. The hoodies, the material, the T-shirts, the jogging pants, and gotta love the socks. Gotta keep a fresh pair of socks. Moneyball Black Friday sale, November 25th. I'll be there.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Time to talk about Swiss Insurance Group and my man Mark. Here you go. With the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts, jewelry or collectibles. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss has saved its clients on an average of 26% on their insurance premiums while increasing their coverage. That's a lot of money to free up for giving season. So guess what? Why don't you check in with my boy Mark at Swiss Insurance Group and let him save you some money this holiday season.
Welcome back, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Also simulcasting on the Fox 2 News app and fox2detroit.com here in the Motor City. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Braylon, you have a special guest here you'd like to introduce.
Special guest, man. This is a guy that, from the first time I saw him playing in 95, I was like, this guy is going to be special. Actually, the first time I met Charles was 96. In the summer, he did at the time, Reggie McKenzie / Pepper Hamilton camp. And I got a chance to meet him and all that. And I knew he was going to be special. My dad talked about him. And when you do a show, you have your own show, like you think of your guest. And we talked about that. And this was by far the first person that I wanted to get on. And so with that said, no further, bring him in. See, Wood, what's going on, man?
Be easy. What's up, man?
Man, you got it. This is an extreme honor to have you on the show. Even though you're my brother, I know your time is precious, but thanks for hitting me up and coming back to me, brother.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
You talk about Charles Woodson. You're talking about a guy at Sporting News 97 Player of the Year. You're talking about Big Ten Player of the Year. You're talking about Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. You're talking 97 Heisman, Walter Camp. You're talking, the list goes on. But let's not talk about that. Let's just focus on Ohio State. This is O State weekend. This is the game. Well, in fact, today marks the 25th anniversary of somebody going wild in Ann Arbor, 97. Talk about that team and just talk about the rivalry as a whole.
Well, first off, man, 25 years. Goodness gracious.
My bad.
Tell me about
it. Dude, where does the time go, man? It's hard to believe that it's been that long. We were able to earlier this year have the reunion at the Penn State game with that 97 national championship team. Great to see all of the guys come back and be able to enjoy that moment and just reflect on what a crazy and great year that was, that ended in the national championship. And you already know that on our schedule, the most important game is that last game of the season, and that's playing against the Buckeyes. And we knew going into that game, coming in undefeated, the way that they had came into the game undefeated my first 2 years playing this team, that they were going to try to return the favor. So it was high stakes with that game, but we had a great team, man. Our focus all season long was at an all-time high, and we felt really good about our team, the way we were playing going into the game, and we ultimately did what we had to do.
Yeah.
There was, you saw the punt return up the sideline.
Yes, sir.
Never get tired of seeing that. So reminiscent of
what happened to the pose, Wood?
Dude, I was trying to get to it, but the team, man, they got to me. They got to me a little quicker than I expected, and they jumped on me, so I didn't get a chance to do the pose. So I missed out on that, but I got the rose in the mouth, Braylon.
There you go.
That's my claim to fame, the rose in the mouth, but. Yeah, that game, man. Just the rivalry, man. You know about it. You've been in it. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, 100% talking to the greatest college football player of all time. And the reason why I say that isn't because, we're the same school. I've never seen anybody affect the game in all three phases the way he did. You're talking about having passes that lead to the only touchdown for Michigan in that game. You're talking about a punt return for a touchdown. You're talking about on defense, interceptions. You're talking about 4 tackles, 2 interceptions as a freshman. He just commanded the whole game in all phases, which ultimately got you in December to the Heisman. Talk about when you dropped down to a Nisi Wood, what was that moment like for you winning the Heisman Trophy, and what was the emotion in that moment?
It was historical. You know what I mean? It really was. There had been guys who have been up for the Heisman Trophy from the defensive side of the ball, but no one was able to take it home. So for me to be up there in New York thinking that, this is a foregone conclusion. We knew who, they had hyped up to win the trophy the entire preseason, during the season. It was almost as if, that was, his gift, his rite of passage, to win that award. So I went up there just trying to be a part of the festivities and be a part of, being a runner-up like most defensive players were.
Yeah.
So to have my name called by Rudy Risker, man, saying from Michigan, Charles Woodson, like, my whole body, I kind of went limp, man. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
If you watch it back, you can see Randy nudge me with his elbow.
Yeah.
Like, man, get up.
they called you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, they said from Michigan, like, holy, you know what I mean? So, you get up and I take that knee at the trophy, like, I'm just down there shaking my head. I can't believe this just happened, man. So what an unbelievable, moment for myself, for my team, because, no doubt that this is much more than just an individual player. You can't get to an undefeated season, beat Ohio State, and go to a national championship game without every player and every coach around you. So what a great moment for myself, Michigan, and my entire family.
And your mom and dad saw them as well. That was one of the first things you said. You gave honor to the guy. I watched it a million times. You gave honor to the guy first, and obviously you brought your mom in there, which is great. Ryan, Ermanni?
Seawood, thanks so much for the time. I was a freshman in '97 and won the national championship, and I was thinking to myself, oh, this is easy. We'll do this every year. Hasn't been the case since. Does this current team have what it takes to win a national championship?
You know what? I think they do. I try not to be biased and try to be objective in my opinion, but I think when you watch this team, the one thing, of course, that they do really well, they're able to run the ball. Offensive line plays really well, creating holes in space for those running backs. I think that defensively, we have, we didn't know what was going to happen with the D-line after Njabo and Hutchinson left last year, but this D-line has continued to step up game in and game out, especially late in games and closing games out and getting pressure, getting sacks and hurries on the quarterback. I think, though, what's going to be most important for this team, though, is we know about the run game and the defense and how well they played, but this is going to be a huge game for JJ. I think in terms of, like, getting to the championship, beating Ohio State, getting to the playoffs and being in that championship game, we got to get the optimum play out of JJ. Last week's game was not going to cut it. Missed too many open receivers. Not seeing the tight end in the end zone open late in the game. Like, all of the plays that are there for him to make, this week he's got to make them. And if we get to the playoffs, we're going to have to make them. So if those things happen, we definitely can be a championship team.
Hey, Charles, when you played, the win in '97 was, the 8th win in 10 years for Michigan. Michigan only lost one time in a decade. Obviously, the rivalry has turned on its head now. Michigan's won 3 times since 2001. How important is it to the alumni, to the former players, to you guys, that Michigan wins it? You were a third-year player for the Oakland Raiders the last time Michigan won in Columbus, and you've had a Hall of Fame career since. That's a long time to go down there without a win.
Yeah, it's a long time, man, and really, unacceptable, because, it's, again, it's called the game for a reason. We have, other games on the schedule. We understand that. We respect that. But no matter what happens at any point in the season, we always knew we had that last game of the season. And that's the one we had to make count if all things didn't go well previously. So, to have the record be as lopsided as it's been the last few years, that's, for the guys, you mentioned it, us alumni, the guys who played, who put on that amazing blue, we look for this game. This is the game that you're judged by, no matter what happens in your tenure at Michigan. Everybody wants to know, hey, how many times did you beat Ohio State? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, true.
I know that these guys, I know that they are working their butts off to go in and try to make this one 2 years in a row. And let's get ourselves on a little roll, man, and kind of get back to those winning ways against Ohio State.
Hey, Charles, as part of Big Noon Kickoff, Urban's had to come to Ann Arbor a couple of times. Now you go to Columbus. How are you treated there?
Man, I'm going to be treated like a Hall of Famer. That's how I'm going to be treated. Hey,
there we go. Fremont's finest, baby.
Exactly. I don't care what they yelling. I don't care what colors they got on. I'm walking in as a Hall of Famer, baby. So give me my respect.
Wood, that's interesting. Let's stay with that for 2 seconds. Look at this, man. Michigan has 3 Heisman Trophy winners, 2 of them for the state of Ohio. What about Michigan made you go Michigan and not Ohio State? Because you're from Fremont, and it just doesn't seem like Ohio State's letting guys slip to Michigan.
No, it's interesting, man. It's really a very simple story for me. I grew up liking Michigan because of my older brother. I've told this story a million times. He was a huge Michigan fan. Wanted to go to Michigan. He wasn't able to, but I grew up. My older brother was my first, childhood idol. He was who I watched every day. We lived in the same house. I watched him go to practice and went to his games, and he was my guy. And so. He liked Michigan. I like Michigan, and so
I love it.
There's when you live in Ohio, you live in Michigan. To me, you can't like both of them.
Nope.
It's just
you can't.
That's just the way it is. So when it came time for recruiting, I was recruited by Ohio State, but I was like, you know what, I like Michigan. I'm a Wolverine, so
yeah,
I can't go there. You know what I mean? So I took some other visits, but Michigan was always at the top of the list.
Man, that's love right there. We got to transition to it. We talked about how great you were in college, my favorite of all time. But you also played in the NFL, where you also had a Hall of Fame career. 62 interceptions, 13 defensive touchdowns, 20 sacks. The list goes on. Defensive player, you're a Super Bowl winner. You won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. What is your assessment of Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, and what they've assembled in terms of this mess in the last 2 years, and also losing Devontae Adams?
Well, first of all, 65 interceptions.
Oh, excuse me.
You know what I mean?
My bad. My bad.
Make sure you got my stats right.
You're right. Notice I wasn't reading though. Just saying. Notice I wasn't reading.
Yeah. Well, at least you got the 60 though. At least you
my apologies, big bro.
60 plus.
Oh, by the way, here you go. Since I'm doing these things.
Hey, that's how you save yourself. You just say 60 plus.
100%. My apologies.
Yeah. But Green Bay, man, it's really interesting. Couple of years. I think this. You kind of got to go back to the year they drafted. Jordan Love. I think the consensus is when you talk about the Packers is that, hey, let's surround Aaron, with whatever you need, and then all of a sudden they bring in Jordan Love, and it's all signs are pointing to, all right, we're looking for life beyond Aaron Rodgers and not trying to take advantage of what we have left with him, for the rest of his career. So I think that left a sour taste in his mouth. Then of course he went on to play well, and then after that, still. Within the draft, still not going out and getting a top receiver. And I just think, man, from that point on, man, there's been a sour taste in his mouth. I think there's been dissension between him, the staff and everyone there in the Green Bay Packer organization. And this year is just kind of hit ahead, man. Like, they can't get on the same page. You hear Aaron coming out talking about, the guys can't get the plays right. I got to throw on timing, and if I can't throw on timing, then it's not going to work. And so you got these young guys out there trying to play their butts off, but if the guy is throwing the ball to you don't trust you, you're not going to get it. And there's not a lot of trust there. And what I thought about the defense, I thought they would be the anchor for this team this year, and they haven't performed up to the level that I thought they would perform.
Good point.
Now they're dealing with injuries with Rashad Gary and Kavondre Bell's been out. So, it's one of those things, man. It's kind of like a perfect storm, that hits a team sometimes where all of a sudden now, it starts rolling and you can't stop it. And they've dug themselves a hole this year that I don't think they're going to be able to climb out of.
Gotcha.
Hey, Charles, I want to ask you about Tom Brady. Are you surprised he's still playing? And B, you guys taped that Tuck Rule special on ESPN. That was great, by the way. Do you ever sit back and wonder how the tracks would have maybe changed for Brady, or maybe even yourself, if you guys would have probably won the Super Bowl that year, if that call
and the following,
following year, right?
Get hurt, yeah.
If that call went a different way.
Honestly, I feel like in terms of my career, I don't think anything would have changed. I think, barring I don't get, any injuries that ends my career, I'm going to still end up here where I'm at. I think who it would have changed for is time. you know, who knows what they do at the end of that season. You know, if we win that game, they don't go on to win the Super Bowl. You know, do the Patriots go back to Drew Bledsoe? You know, is Tom in a backup role again? You know, does he end up getting, you know, traded to another team? Does he? So I think his path changes. Mine ends up, you know, probably where it's at right now. I think in terms of Brady still playing, he's always said he wanted to play as long as he could. And he plays the quarterback position. I mean, if you play quarterback in the NFL now, I mean, guys they can't even breathe on you. You know, you're protected.
Which is true.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't have any, you know, he hasn't had any. He's had a knee injury. I think that was way back in 2007 or something like that. Yeah, something like that. But he hasn't had any injuries to his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't had dislocations and that sort of thing. So he's going to be able to throw the ball. He's never had to worry about being a mobile quarterback and getting outside of the pocket. He's always operated inside of the pocket. So I'm not surprised that he's still playing, and then also knowing that he wanted to play as long as he could. So, not surprised at all.
All right, see, before we get you out of here, man, my favorite college player of all time is yourself. My favorite NFL player of all time is Randy Moss. Interesting. Oh, for sure. You know what it is. Interesting, you guys sitting right next to each other. That's my 1 and 2. Who's your favorite college player of all time? And then who's your favorite NFL player of all time? And then we're done. I promise.
First I'll go NFL player. My favorite NFL player growing up was Walter Payton. It was all about sweetness for me. You know, the kangaroos, the headband. He had the curl
Swag.
going. You know, and you know the high stepping. He had all that. So I always tell people that when I was growing up in a neighborhood, whenever you're choosing the guy who you are, I was Walter Payton. I was sweetness. So that was my guy. I think college-wise, man. That's a tough one, man. So many good ones. But, I always remember, one of the reasons I ended up wearing number 2, there was a guy from Alabama named David Palmer. I don't know if you guys remember David Palmer, man.
Punt return.
David Palmer could do it all. Punt return, wide receiver. He played quarterback sometimes. And, man, just smooth as silk, on the football field. So, David Palmer, man, was one of my favorite college players growing up.
Hey, man, we extremely you a lot.
Can I ask? Go ahead. Can I ask last one? And I think I know what you're going to say. The more important number at Michigan, 1 or 2?
It's what a jerk!
Sorry, Brad.
What a jerk!
Sorry, Brad.
What a jerk! I abstain. I abstain.
All I would say is you can't have 1 without 2. So you can't have 2 without 1. So
there you go.
They go hand in hand.
Amen.
You see what time it is, 9-7 in the building. Shout out to my man.
Thanks,
Big brother Charles. Was really appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. We know you got Michigan this week too.
Come on, man. Hey, I told you, I'm not objective when it comes to this game, man. I'm gonna let the bias hang out, man.
That's it. That's what
you go.
And that's what we want too.
You know what he said on Monday Night Football. You know the school.
Thanks, Charles. We appreciate you doing
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
That's great. Charles Woodson, the Hall of Famer, the Heisman Trophy champ. We're gonna react to this. We'll be right back. Let's take a break, Braylon. Let's catch our breath. That was absolutely phenomenal.
I can't even do my read right now. I can't even do my read right now. You get former guests, you get all-star players, you get Pro Bowl players. You don't get GOATs.
One of the greatest. One of the greatest in professional sports. Not just the NFL.
All right, get it back on track.
All right, get it back on track. First a message from SMA, then we'll get back to Charles Woodson.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their podcast is that's word is for stigma because they're trying to destigmatize mental health and substance abuse. Sean Jordan does an amazing job at SMA, providing you content, providing you conversations, giving you information that you might need. Go to thesportsma.com. NFL Alumni Detroit Association does an amazing job as well. If you or somebody you know is hurting, go to thesportsma.com.
Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Only at Big Frog can
Frog.
you get yourself a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog in Novi. Hey, come on, who doesn't like free? Stop in today and tell them we sent you, and they will hook you up and print you out a fresh Woodward Sports t-shirt right on the spot. So stop in today at Big Frog in Novi, or you can always check them out online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
Novi, number 6. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Maz, what'd you think, buddy?
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Yep, it's one of my faves as well.
And just, like, totally looks like a great guy, too, doesn't it? Isn't they, Braylon? I mean, that's just...
Tammy Chin said he's one of the best guys when she's out at all these autograph signings. He is so great with his time and his smile and his sincerity.
Yeah, you know, you got him on there, and you know, you instantly think about, especially a guy that went to Michigan. I went to Michigan because of Charles Woodson, much like he talked about his brother liking it. Like, he has so many things that have happened in the last 25 years. You forget. I wanted to ask him about his wine because I was in St. Thomas and I ran into him in St. Thomas when he was first starting Intercept, and now it's blowing up, and now they even have bourbon as well. I didn't get there. Some other questions that I wanted to, but one of the things we saw is at the end, you asked him who's going to win the game. Michigan and Ohio State. And he said, oh, hell no, there's objective bias. It's Michigan.
Yes.
It reminded me of the Michigan State question that was presented to Aiden Hutchinson. And he said, I abstain. Right. It's like, you see that energy, that level, that excitement? That's what a rivalry is supposed to feel like to all alums.
Honestly, I don't want Charles Woodson to tell me that Ohio State's going to win.
Yeah.
I don't want Braylon Edwards to tell me that Ohio State's going to win. Like, as a Michigan...
You won't hear that out of my mouth.
Right.
At least not on air.
And I understand, but I don't want to hear it off air either.
At least not on air.
I don't want to hear Charles Woodson tell me that, you know. I want Charles Woodson to tell, hell yeah, Michigan's going to win. Let's go. You know, but I mean, just so great. And it's when you do look back at that career 25 years ago today. Was the game that Michigan beat Ohio State in '97 to secure a trip to the Rose Bowl, and they played Ryan Leaf in the national championship game, or the Rose Bowl, essentially. I'll never forget that. I was a freshman and a student. To think that was 25 years ago, my goodness.
Just so crazy, like all the lasting impacts and how important he was to Michigan, kind of changing that culture. If you look at Michigan from the beginning until 1997 or 95, I would say, like, guys, they had some players. They had some dogs, some All-Americans, some great players. Desmond Howard won the Heisman in 1991 season. But Charles brought a different attitude when he came. Like, Charles he wasn't a negative player. He was a damn good player, but Charles challenged authority a little bit. Like, he made authority step it up in terms of coaching, in terms of the way you coach, in terms of, like, he had that swag, that attitude. Everybody was taping on white tape. Charles started wearing the black tape. He was the first one spatting in black, kind of like the Fab Five, wearing black socks. Like, he had the visor when he played in the game. Like, he was showing, like, he had the abs route showing the game. He was intimidating wide receivers. He changed the swag level in Michigan. Michigan is all blue collar, and you say the right things, you do the right things, and you listen to the coaching and all that. Charles was like, look, man, if y'all coaching can't keep up, it's going to be a problem, man. He took that team to the next level, and everybody got on board.
I still remember that Sports Illustrated with David Boston.
Yep.
Take that.
Flipped up in there.
Never forget it.
Yep, that was
Marcus Ray and as
that
Marcus
was
Ray.
phenomenal. And he was built like a brick. You know what? That kid, David Boston.
Yeah.
But he got his comeuppance that game.
You know, there's players that win the Heisman and special players that you watch in college that are part of, your program, your team, whatever university you go to. If you go to a big-time college school that's got a big-time college football program, you just know that there's going to be guys that go to the next level and are going to be great. There was never any question since day one that Charles Woodson was destined for the Hall of Fame. From game one in the NFL, he came in and made that impact. Those are the types of guys. And you go back and you look at that 97 championship team. They had 15 of 22 starters end up playing in the National Football League. I mean, that's how you win national championships in college. Yeah, you have pro players.
To win a national championship game, to win conference championship, you gotta have good players. You gotta have players that go on and play in the league. You got good players. To win national championship, you gotta have special players. You gotta have players that don't come around often. You gotta have guys like that, and that's Charles Woodson. I mean, 2 interceptions as a freshman in the Ohio State game. What happens in that game is either there's confirmation that we chose right on this recruit, or there's like, no, we chose right. And some just think about that, Ryan and mine, and then we're done. We'll talk about current Michigan and not 97 anymore. Think about a player that can impact every phase of a game. You talk about your best players, you're like, oh man, Joe Burrow is amazing at LSU. You're like, yeah, he is, but he ain't tackling nobody. Joe Burrow's not returning kicks. He's not returning punts. He can only control the passing game. You talk about Adrian Peterson. You talk about some of these guys. They can only control one phase, and at the most, some of them can control 2 because they may do some punt returning as well. Charles Woodson had a chance to affect all 3 phases.
And again, these when you bring it back to this year's team, I asked him, being part of a championship team, you know what it takes to be a championship team. Does this team have that? And the answer is, I think they do, right? I mean, I think they do. And the injuries are the injuries. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt this time of year. Ohio State's hurt too. Nobody's feeling sorry for them that Jackson Smith and Jigba probably will not play in this game and hasn't played all year long. Travion Anderson in a walking boot probably will not play. If he does, he's not going to be healthy. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah, 100%. I think, but you still see there was a level of hesitancy in there. There's a level of hesitancy in you. There's a level of hesitancy in me. And what that level of hesitancy is when you look at Michigan's schedule, and I hate to take it there, but when you look at Michigan's schedule, like how many All-Americans have they played against? How many special players have they played against? None.
Well, you could say that for Ohio State too.
But they have those players on their team. Like, they have those players that are going to be All-Americans. They have those players that are going to be first-round draft picks and be pretty damn good in the NFL. You see that already. I think that's the problem. When you look at Michigan, you're nervous that they haven't played against those type of players. And when you look at their roster, you're nervous that they may not necessarily have those type of players, with the exception of Blake Corum. That's the hesitancy part.
Hey, remember when you guys asked him, can this team win the national championship? He basically said no. He basically said no.
You think the pause was a no?
Yeah. It's because it's the way they're playing. Yeah. You heard him. You go back to the game, the Illinois game. You go back to these games. They just don't. You go back to J.J. McCarthy. He's got to make some passes. You heard him. He's got to make the next step, and he hasn't done it yet. That's all.
Like, yes, Michigan has a chance. Everybody has a chance. So I'm going to go from the politically correct way. Yes, Michigan has a chance. But the thing that's scaring individuals as we get down the stretch, when they're making plays like this and they're having games like this, and in September, you still got 9 months. You still got 9 weeks, 10 weeks. Even when it's October, you're like, we still have 7 games left. But when you're now, it's 1 game left, and you see guys that you've been waiting for to get the ball, Andrew Anthony, who can be a tremendous receiver for the Michigan Wolverines, my little brother, don't make that play. Running back doesn't make that play. JJ hasn't made that play. They get in this tight spot. Now you're looking at more not makes than makes. You're looking at more things that make you nervous than make you happy and confident. That's the problem now.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break, transition to the NFL. Also coming up this hour in about 10 minutes from now, we'll talk to Fox 2 sports director and, of course, voice of the Lions, Dan Miller.
D. Mills.
Dan Miller hasn't called a 3-game win streak in 5 years. I'm sure he's enjoying this one. We'll talk to him coming up, but first a message from the Foaling Warehouse.
Yes, sir. Out in Hamtramck, ask for Chris Hutt. Noni Hutt will help you out as well. 2 ways to play this great game of Foaling. $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for 10 or 12 of your friends or family or people you don't like. You can just share the lane with them. You get it for 2 hours. It only runs you $120. So you get the whole place to yourself. How about it? Any drink you want and multiple full bars there. And over 100 beers to drink as well. That menu is fantastic. How about that $2 mystery beer machine? And as far as food goes, you can bring your own in or have it delivered. Get your Foal on. Check them out at foalingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh, wait, it's 2 for $4. Got to double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
What's going on, everybody? JB,
Hi, JB.
Here, letting you know about
not a whole lot.
Planet
How you doing, buddy?
Fitness and how they are the official studio sponsor of Woodward Sports.
What?
It's also home to the Judgment-Free Zone, where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere for only $10 a month.
Only $10?
Yeah, right. Only $10 a month. Or do yourself a favor. Upgrade to the Black Card with unlimited guest privileges, that hydro massage, and so much more. So join in club today or check them out at planetfitness.com.
Because there again, it was, man, we got to enjoy that game on the flight last night, and it was done. I mean, when I got back here to the office, it was already Buffalo. So, you know, that would have been nice to have a long week to enjoy at least maybe a few hours longer, but that's the nature of it, man. We're rolling. We're going, you know, and none of it matters, in my opinion, if we don't win this next one. So we're in a good place. The guys understand what the things that we're doing that are allowing us to win, and we got to continue to do that. And I know we can't start thinking of other things and get ourselves out of the mold of what we've been the last 3 weeks, how we've been. You know, we got to stay the course just like we have.
That's Dan Campbell talking about, obviously, the short week and the Thanksgiving Day game. And it's so funny he said that, because I was thinking the only thing that sucks about beating the Giants is you really only get to enjoy it for 3 days before you. I wish they played some patsy like the Titans are, not the Titans, like the Houston Texans on Thanksgiving or something like that.
Rematch.
To keep this thing going. But man, oh man, it is what it is. Here we go, Buffalo.
You know what's interesting about that is I didn't think about that as well. And you're right, you don't get a chance to enjoy it. Like when you 3 in a row, you haven't had 3 in a row since 2017. Usually there's a Victory Monday attached with that. So you get a Victory Monday, you get Tuesday off work as well. You get ESPN and WoodwardSports.com saying nice things about you. You get to relax, go to a couple restaurants during that weekend and say, hey, good job, keep that thing up. But the other side to that is you have to shed that and not spend 6 days like, you know, enjoying and basking in the win and everybody telling you, oh man, you guys are turning it around and believing your own press clippings. It was quick. They watched the game on the plane. They shedded that game. They got right into Buffalo. So now the Lions players that are young, impressionable, now they're still focused. They're not worried about winning 3 and everybody grease them up a little bit. They're ready to win 4 because it's happening right now.
You know what's better than enjoying a win for 3 days, Tom Mazawey?
Enjoying 4 for 10.
Enjoying a 4 straight wins in 10 days.
Hasn't happened since 2016, so let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I like that, though. Now I'm just kind of thinking about that on air and kind of working that thought process out on air. They shedded that game. They're not, and you know what I'm saying, and just basking in it and just like, I can't think of the right word for it right now, but they're not staying in that moment. They've left that moment. They're in the next moment, and they're getting ready to play a game. You look at Buffalo. Tell me why the Detroit Lions can't win outside of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs being a highly elite tandem and the duo. Short week, they've been losing some games. They've struggled in the red zone. They can't run. They're out of their routine. They're still here in Detroit. By the way, shout out to the Bills. They sent a lot of donuts and bagels.
Did they never go back to Buffalo, by the way?
I'm not sure of that. Yeah. I really am. But look what they did. Look what they did this morning for the Lions.
Their original plan was to go back to Buffalo and then come back, but I'm not sure how that worked out.
I don't know what's going on, but I know. And even if they do go back to come back, even that's now still something that's a stressor, a stress process, and it's the holiday. A lot going on in the Buffalo Bills offices on that team in terms of playing a game on Thursday.
They gave $20,000 to Lions charities.
It's incredible.
And they got them breakfast. Check out this great breakfast.
That's a lot of respect,
This breakfast makes me hungry. Look at all those.
That is a lot of respect.
That's pretty nice.
I love this.
Very nice.
And I think for a lot of people around here, most Detroit people root for the Buffalo Bills. Don't they?
True. Bills Mafia reminds us of us.
Whether it's because their owner Ralph Wilson lived here
back in the day,
or not, before he passed.
At the end of the day, it's the thing about it, it's respect, it's class. Like the Detroit franchise are class. People would assume that outside looking in, like, oh yeah, I mean, that's any team or any person would do that. All franchises don't do stuff like that because all franchises don't treat you like the Lions did this past week.
They're a cool franchise. They're good
for outside people, not us stuff.
They're good. They're good fans. They're like us. Detroit fans, Cleveland fans, Chicago fans, Buffalo fans. Those are great fans. Green Bay fans.
I don't know about Chicago.
Hey, let me play this cut for you.
Philly, New York.
Let me play this cut for you from Jared Goff. Before we look at the Bills, I want you to hear what he said about the Giants. Okay, what he said about beating the Giants, because I think that is so important moving forward. Here's Jared Goff.
Yeah, it's huge. I think just getting a win against a good team on the road is always a good boost. And we came into that game. All we heard about was how good they were in the red zone, how good they were on third down, and we said, well, we're pretty good in the red zone too, and we're pretty good on third down. And being able to prove that against a good team on the road is a lot of fun, and hopefully it carries over.
One of the things that Jared Goff went on to say is talked about expecting to win and not hoping to win.
Yeah,
and I'm just telling you, there's nothing greater you can give these guys than confidence. Yeah. When you expect to win a football game instead of hoping to win a football game, that's the difference. That's the difference in making a mistake and then making a play to win the game.
Jared Goff is so funny because he's such an easy individual to read. Remember what we were talking about in the summer? Remember his body language at the podium all last year? Remember his body language in training camp when they asked him? Like, it just looked very unsure. It looked like, hey guys, and he's even 4 weeks ago when he's at the podium, he's one arm on his hip. He's kind of like one hand on the podium. He's like, we're going to go out there. Like, it's real kind of like unsure. Now he's back into two hands on the podium. He's leaning into the questions. He's leaning into the feeling. You can tell a lot about how he feels and how the Lions feel just off his body language at the podium. They're confident right now.
And he's playing good football, man. Jared Goff is playing good football. 1 turnover in 3 weeks. You want to know why they're...
One was called back.
He's playing okay
That's
football.
Fine. So that doesn't count, Maz. That doesn't count.
He's playing good enough football.
He's playing good football right now. 1 turnover in 3 weeks. That's a big reason why this team is on a 3-game win streak. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Dan Miller's going to join us, voice of the Lions, longtime voice of the Lions, Fox 2 sports director. We'll talk to Dan about this week's game against the Bills. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. Thinking of a new Cadillac? Les Stanford will take care of your first payment. That's right, your first payment is on Les. Plus, Les Stanford has $500 in cyber cash on all Chevys. Time to treat yourself at Les Stanford in Dearborn. Go to lesstanford.com, lesstanford.com.
Find a new road.
Find them.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
At Alta.
Uptime, it matters.
Uptime matters.
You know
That's
it
right.
does,
Alta
Maz.
Equipment has got everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, give Alta Equipment a call. They will handle the business for you. Alta Rentals got you covered. Call them today at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
You know, just sticking with this Jared Goff conversation. You know, he is. We have Dan now. Good. Okay, let's bring him in then. Dan Miller, Fox 2 Sports Director and voice of the Lions. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, Dan.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Very
Doing
good.
good, man. Doing good.
Very good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. And I know you're busy today, so thanks so much for doing this, Dan. I know you're busy today. Let me get right to it. 3 straight games, 3 straight wins. What have we learned about this football team over the last 3 weeks, Dan?
That when you take the ball away from the opponent and you win the turnover battle and you don't commit penalties that makes it easy for the other guys to keep drives alive or to score points and things like that, you can win games. That's the recipe in this league. That's what the Giants have been doing to get to 7-2. And you know, you can question how good that football team is, and I think there's some legitimate questions about that. But you know what? All 7 of those wins count. They're in their back pocket. And that's the recipe for this league. It's if you don't have overwhelming talent and you're still trying to figure things out, the baseline that you can do is avoid those game-changing plays and avoid those penalties that make it difficult. So I certainly think that has been the biggest difference if you look at 7 takeaways in the last 3 games. Defense is playing better, only giving up 19 points a game as opposed to upwards of 30 before that. So those are some things that jump out to me.
Better question, where in the hell are you?
I am in Allen Park. This is kind of a soundproof booth. This is my bedroom. No, this is kind of
I thought you were in a recording studio.
Booth they have off the media room in Allen Park. So this is the only place I could find that was not going to interrupt everybody else out
You
there.
just want to make sure there wasn't a white jacket around.
Nah, dude. That's only on weekends.
Ryan looked at it a little different than I did because I thought you were in a recording studio. I thought your album was about to come out. I thought you was spitting that hot fire.
Yeah, it's dropping next week. I'm just
there we go.
finishing touches on it.
D Mills dropping next week. No, but in all seriously, Dan Miller coming to you. What do the Detroit Lions have to do to beat the Buffalo Bills? Because I'm not convinced that Buffalo is the same Buffalo that they were 5 weeks ago. What can the Lions do to get a win against this Buffalo?
You know, Braylon, at its core, I think you've got to score 30 points. Just let's talk about the offense to start with. I think you're going to have to put up some points because Buffalo's going to find a way to score. But within that, can you take away some possessions from them? Can you find a way to get Josh Allen to do what he's done for the better part of a month and a half now, which is give the ball up? You know, he's second in the NFL in interceptions. And this team has one thing that's changed with them is they have been giving it away a little bit. So if you can get that, maybe get a couple short fields, maybe get some points from your defense, I think that would certainly help. I think it's a tough loss to not have Jeff Okudah for this game. He's the kind of guy you'd love to see on Stephon Diggs. But, you know, bottom line is, to me, you got to play really clean. You can't give them anything easy, short fields, points off their defense, anything like that. And then you've got to see if you can find something that they'll give you along those lines. Because, look, going into this game, Buffalo's the better team. They're the Super Bowl favorite right now.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. It's a really good football team, even if they struggled a little bit late. So I think you have to do some things that can turn the game to your advantage, and I think that's how you find some equalizers, is to get some of those plays.
Dan, I agree with you 1,000%. The only thing I say that can help the Lions as well, the teams that have beat the Buffalo Bills this season, they've run the ball on them, and they kept Josh Allen off the field a little bit, kind of like the New York Jets did, Maz.
Dan, speaking about the running game, DeAndre Swift, he just doesn't look as confident as he maybe once was. I saw him dancing around last week. At one point, Justin Jackson was playing before him, and I like Justin Jackson. What's your take on what's going on with DeAndre Swift? Is he 100% healthy? What's the scoop?
No, I think the answer to that is definitely 100% no. He's not 100% healthy. Look, we're not going to get from these guys exactly what's going on with him or how close to 100% he is. But look, if DeAndre Swift is 100%, he's touching the ball 15 times a game. He's just not 100% right now, so I think they're trying to put him on a pitch count, use him when they can. And Justin Jackson played well last week, and I think that probably maybe had a little bit to do with it as well, that they felt comfortable with him out there. He's a veteran player. It's not like there's a trust issue there. So I think that had something to do with it. But look, DeAndre Swift is the most explosive player on this football team, full stop.
Yeah.
And if he can play, I think he'll be out there. I think they're doing the best they can with him right now based on his physical condition and trying to keep him as big a part of it as they can, but he's just not 100%. And I think that's why you've seen what you've seen. To me, there's no other explanation for it because of who he is and what he brings to a game at any given moment when he puts football in his hands.
Dan, on the other side of the ball, Aleem McNeil played his best game, one of the better games in a couple of years here in the NFL. And this guy is starting to round into shape. Maybe I remember Mike O'Hara a couple of years ago telling me that he reminded him of Bubba Baker. This guy, he can wreak havoc. What's your take on Aleem McNeil?
Well, it was his best game as a pro. There's no doubt about that. You're talking 10 quarterback pressures. That's off the charts. And I think, look, the hope is that he can be that kind of disruptive player. And the hope is that he can be that kind of disruptive player on the interior, because that's something that they've lacked for a while now, is a guy that can collapse the pocket, not give the quarterback any room to step up, and pressure the quarterback from the middle, which opens up the ends where you hope that Hutch and whomever's playing on the other side, be it Julian Okwara, hopefully soon Romeo Okwara, Charles Harris has been hurt, whoever it is, Kaminsky, whomever it is, that opens things up for them as well. Look, he's a really talented, athletic, 330 some odd pound man that you see what he can do when he's right. And I think, what you hope is that the light bulb comes on and he realizes how dominant he can be when he's at his best, and that's a sign of things to come. But that was by far the best game we've seen from him. But I think it's also a game that they've kind of been waiting for because they feel like he's capable of that.
Talking to Dan Miller, voice of the Lions, Fox 2 sports director. Dan, I think, knowing you as long as I have, I think I know what you're going to say. Just keep winning and everything will take care of itself. But the playoffs, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to look at these games, watch San Francisco last night, and root for a loss and all that. Now they blew them out, but nonetheless, it's fun to play this game. How much fun are you having? And do you believe this team can get to 9 wins and finish these 7 games 5-2?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, but you're right. You just have to win games. You can't get too far ahead of yourselves. You got a massive test coming up here against Buffalo, but you just have to go out every week and try to keep stacking them. And I'm not trying to be cliche or anything here, but root for the other guys to lose. There's nothing wrong with that, because ultimately that's what has to happen for you to catch a break. But you got to handle your own business first. And it's been nice to see these guys. There is a different vibe in this building. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a confidence about these guys. 2 games in a row, they've been able to, before this, they've been able to, make a stop at the end of the game defensively to win it. This game, they didn't need to do that because they just handled the Giants and were up 2 scores. So, Look, do I think it's fun to think about? 100%. It is. It's much more fun to be relevant than irrelevant. And they were irrelevant 3 weeks ago. So I think let's just see where it takes them. I think I hate the schedule game. I'm not a believer in it. But if you look at the records of the teams that are in front of them, they don't look great. But you know what? The Giants would have said this Lions team record doesn't look great when they went in there to play as well. So it really just comes down to you playing and doing what you have to do to win.
Dan, don't think I was going to let you get out of here without talking about the game. Speaking about taking care of business, will the Michigan Wolverines take care of business?
On Fox 2, by the way.
Columbus. On Fox 2, by the way.
Yeah.
Will they take care of business?
No. I think it's going to be tough. I need to see Braylon. I need to see that passing game look better.
Yeah.
I just think you're going to need to score some points to beat these guys, and you're not going to do it with field goals. And you got to find some way for JJ to hook up with these guys to score some points. If Quorum's not 100% or somewhere near that, that really puts the onus on the passing game for these guys. And I don't know what Donovan Edwards' status is, but it's really going to put the onus on the passing game. And what I saw last week wasn't good enough. It's got to be better than that. If he gets opportunities against this defense, you can't miss and think you're going to get them later. You got to take advantage of all of them to win this game. I just think, to me, going in, Ohio State is the favorite. I just think Michigan needs to do some things that we haven't seen in the past couple of weeks. And I think JJ's really got to put together that Aleem McNeil type of game and have himself a big game for them to win.
Charles Woodson and Dan Miller on the same day. Good day for us.
We're doing great.
Thanks,
we're
Dan.
Doing great.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Show's over now.
Not exactly in the same class, but I appreciate it.
Absolutely. For us, you are. Thanks, Dan. Happy Thanksgiving.
See you, Dan.
We appreciate it. Pretty good stuff, man.
And that custodial closet he was hiding in, I appreciate it.
But nonetheless, he is right.
He is.
Look, we can root for all the teams to lose we want, but the Lions have to take care of their business first.
Yeah.
And you know, the longer they keep this win streak going, and I do think they can afford a loss to the Bills here and still be alive.
Yeah,
I do. It's almost
6 and 1.
To be honest with you, I almost feel the same way a little bit, teeny weeny bit. Oh, that sucks. Somebody's grabbing that now.
What?
Teeny weeny. Gosh,
it's okay.
Some of the things that I say. Now I know
cares,
these guys in the back. Well,
you
these
didn't
guys
mean it
in
like
the back.
That's what they're here for.
So if Michigan would have lost Illinois,
teeny weeny.
If Michigan would have lost Illinois, it would have sucked.
Yeah.
But they still would have had a Big Ten championship and a college football playoff in front of them,
right?
If they beat Ohio State.
Correct.
Like, that would have still be in front of them. And I kind of feel like that about the Buffalo Bills, too. If the Lions lose to the Bills on Thursday, it's going to suck. But they still have, I think, a playoff berth in front of them if they can handle their business. Because I'm giving them 5-2. If they can get to 9-8, 9-8, I think gets them in.
Yeah, you've been dancing at 10 and 7 and 9-8 for the whole season. So that's funny. I love it. As it relates to the Buffalo Bills, yeah. But what he said, you just gotta win one game. That's what I've been telling you. It's a one-game season. You play one game, you win another game, you win another game. But if the Lions play discipline, the big thing about the Lions right now, they're playing disciplined football and they're not turning the football over. That's the key for the Detroit Lions. If they can play like that, sure, we'll see. And also, how do you lose, if you do, to the Buffalo Bills? Like, what type, like, if you lose to the Bills on Thursday, what type of loss is it? Is it a loss where it's like the Eagles game last year, where after that Eagles loss, the Lions went into depression for 5, 6, 7 weeks? Is it going to be like that? Or is it a loss where it's like the Eagles game this year, where you're like, man, they were right there. They had a chance, where you actually walk out there not with your head held high, but with your head not hanging low.
This is the 83rd Thanksgiving Day game classic, and they've lost their last 5. Their last win 6 years ago against Minnesota. You're on national TV. Jim and Tony are there. Tony, and he's going to be there. They're going to be on CBS. It's the first game of the day. Set the table, play your asses off, and maybe steal a game. Because Buffalo, you're getting them at the right time. They got 6 feet of snow at their house. They're in and out of Detroit. They were in one locker room. Now they'll be in another locker room. They got some injuries. Josh Allen's not playing at his peak. Did you see Stephon Diggs last week? He'd go next to Sean McDermott, and Sean McDermott was trying to he was almost giving Stephon Diggs a pep talk. It looked like Stephon Diggs was a little down in the dumps. If you see it, it looks like a dad-son type of moment. And then he patted him on the back and sent him on his way, and he scored a touchdown, I think, on the next drive.
First in 6 weeks.
Yeah, but that's it, man. They're starting to feel it. Buffalo is starting to feel a little pressure. That got a hell of a division to climb.
I'm not going to be here on Friday, and I don't think, Maz, you're going to be here on Friday. We're going to do a one-question edition of Fill in the Blank Friday today on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Not tomorrow?
I'm gonna ask you guys this question. We could do it tomorrow, but I'm going to ask you guys
You already
this
set
question.
it up. Now
I want to save it for tomorrow.
You can save it for tomorrow.
I
but
already know what you're asking.
What is it?
You're only allowed to pick one
No.
word.
That's not what I'm going to ask you. That's not what I'm going to ask you.
I'll leave it then.
I'm going to ask you guys to fill in this blank. You ready?
Yes.
If the Lions beat the Bills on Thursday, finish this sentence. If the Lions beat the Bills on Thursday, finish the sentence. I want your guys' reaction to that.
I like it.
Yeah, we do it when we come back. Yeah, I'm ready.
Do it when we come back.
I already have mine.
First message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Lady Jane's, wicked awesome. You know this place. It's wicked awesomeville. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win the down payment on your dream home up to $200,000. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m. Three NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Come back.
Downtown
Bedrock,
Detroit is
baby.
all decked out this holiday
flippy.
season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway has the giant slide, the winter bumper cars, and of course the indoor arcade. Or, you can always grab a drink at the Lodge before or after
Get your
any
drink
Wings
on.
or Piston game. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with Decked Out Detroit, or check them out at deckedoutdetroit.com.
All right, guys, I asked you the question. Welcome back. By the way, I tell you, we need to pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
This has been a hell of a show so far, and nowhere near being done. Charles Woodson, Dan Miller, are you kidding me?
Where can you go to get something like this?
Damn!
There's nowhere else you can go to get an outlet like this.
Fun day. Fun day.
Gosh, this is fun. Thanksgiving week is going to be like 45, 50 degrees.
Is it really?
Sun is shining.
Ooh.
Oh,
We actually care about other people's opinions.
Our Woodward
man.
Sports chat is off the hook. Almost 600 in the chat. Let's keep it going.
Wow, let's go, baby.
Fox
Woodward
2
Sports,
Detroit.
let's
Let's
go.
do it.
All right, guys. Here's my question. I want you to finish the sentence. So we won't officially call it Fill in the Blank Tuesday. We'll wait till tomorrow for Fill in the Blank Wednesday. But this is finish the sentence. If the Lions beat the Bills on Thursday,
Begin the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs. And it's the first time I say anything like that about Detroit Lions, so everybody relax, calm down. The world's not ending. I just look at it from this standpoint. I look at what that win would mean to the psyche of the Bills. Because regardless of what happens in terms of, you know, being in the NFL and like a fan looking at a player and saying, oh, yeah, well, like they look at it different. They're in the NFL. You know, the fans are thinking, like the players, you know, play the game and you see what happens and who wins. And we know it's the Buffalo Bills, but the Lions, yeah, they're in the league. No, the Lions look at them like they're the Buffalo Bills too. Like when guys go home and they're watching highlights, they like, yo, man, Stephon Diggs is a problem. When they're looking at Josh Allen hurdle players and run Bobby Wagner over in the beginning of the season, they like, man, that dude's a problem. When you watch how Sean McDermott designs that team and how he structured them, you look at them and you know there's a problem. If you go beat a team that you think is a problem, if you go beat a team that you know many people were saying this about, you yourself included, gives you another level of confidence, gives you another level of we can do this. And then when you look at, just like Dan Miller said, that schedule of teams left, the majority of those last 6 teams that you are playing are not playing for playoffs. The majority of those last 6 teams you're playing are trying to figure out either new coaches, new regimes, they're not going to be in there, or they got old regimes that need to get new coaches, etc. You're going to play a bunch of teams that are trying to get to January, but not to go to the playoffs because they're trying to get to the offseason because they ain't making the playoffs. The Lions got a new sense of energy and refinement for what they're looking for. Could be interesting.
If the Lions win and beat Buffalo on Thanksgiving Day, I believe they will be in the hunt all the way until Week 17 comes around when they're playing the Green Bay Packers. And I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs. I also believe that one of their games will be flexed onto a Sunday night game. Not sure which one it is yet. I don't know if the Jet game might be it. I got to look at the Sunday night game for that Jet game. I didn't have enough time to give it a quick look. I will. But I believe that the Lions will next year make the playoffs if they could win at least 7 or 8 games this year.
Let me ask you this, Maz, before we get to yours, Ryan. Mm-hmm. Why did you say, Maz, they'll be in the hunt all the way until Week 17? Is that because you have them losing to Green Bay, or you just think it'll be over after that?
I just think there's too many teams for them to jump.
Got you.
And that's it. I
think the Giants are the team that are going to fall out.
And Seattle. Seattle could.
Seattle could.
Seattle has the jump on them,
the
too, with the
Rams are
tiebreaker.
so bad this year now, and with Stafford and Kupp out, I don't know. They got 2 games against the Rams. I don't know. So Seattle, I think, might have the advantage there. I think the Giants are the team that doesn't get in. And I think they don't get in at 9-8. I think 9-8 for the Giants, and then obviously I think the Lions, it takes 9 wins.
The good news about it is there's only going to be one division that has 2 in the NFC. Like, if you look at it from that standpoint, and you could just be one of those teams, you get an extra chance. It's going to be Eagles, Cowboys. It's going to be 49ers. That's 1. It's going to be Vikings. That's you're in that division. That's 1, unless it's you as well. And then in Tampa, it's going to be Tampa or the Falcons, not both of those. So the fact that you have conferences that only have 1 playoff contender, with the exception of 1, you can sneak in. You can sneak in there as the Lions, and that's what I'm thinking. Usually every year it's 2 teams per conference except 1. One conference has a 1 team get in. You're looking at, there's only one division, that has 2 teams getting to the playoffs right now.
Hey, man, if they win on Thanksgiving, it's going to be fun. There's my fill in the blank. Yeah. It's going to be fun for us Lion fans.
I think, yeah, that's a good way to look at it, man, because I haven't been a Lions fan, so I haven't been in this situation, but now that I'm kind of enjoying the Lions, because like I always say, what's good for the Lions is good for the city of Detroit, and I'm from the city of Detroit, but people never just relish in the moment.
No.
You talked about it with Michigan being 11-0.
Yep.
And worrying about the playoffs and worrying about the next 2 rounds from now, not even the next round. I think Detroit Lions fans got to be the same.
Hey,
it's just
Booter.
3 wins.
But our man Booter just wrote me in. The Sunday night game, the week the Jets play the Lions, is Patriots-Raiders. It could easily happen that the Jets-Lions could be flexed into that game.
So,
good call, Boone.
Braylon, you talk about enjoying the moment and enjoying the ride. It took till 11-0 to get there, though.
I'm talking about for Michigan. The Lions too.
I know, but for me, like you talk about enjoying the ride. The season's over at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got 1 game left. So you've basically wasted an entire season if you haven't enjoyed the ride.
Lions fans got to enjoy the ride because at the end of the day, 4 weeks ago, you were talking about having the number 1 pick in the draft. 4 weeks ago, all hell was breaking loose. Dan Campbell was getting fired. Aaron Glenn was getting fired. Jared Goff, get out of here. Aiden Hutchinson, he wasn't the correct pick. All of this 4 weeks ago. Now, all of a sudden, playoffs have somehow magically popped up, and you're 3-0 in the last 3 weeks. Better enjoy this 3-week period. Worry about today. Enjoy it, because it may not happen tomorrow.
So, God, I just for the Lions to get to 9, your wins absolutely have to be Bears, Jaguars, Panthers.
Yes, 100%.
That gets them.
Well, if they beat the Bills, they got 5. That gives you 8.
Well, listen to me for a minute. Jaguars, Panthers, Bears.
You absolutely cannot lose
have
to
those
either
are
one
must
of those.
wins, right?
Yes, of course.
And then you need 2 of 4 here.
Yeah. Minnesota,
Bills, Vikings, at the Jets,
Packers.
at the Packers. You need 2 of those 4
to get to 9. That's pretty cool.
You get Packers, you get Jets.
That's pretty darn good,
Packers
man.
and Jets.
I'm starting to get excited.
Oh, baby!
I'm starting to get excited.
Can you imagine going from potentially the coach of the year to potentially getting fired to back to potentially the coach of the year? Because like if he gets 9 wins somehow, you can't, and they make the playoffs. Him and Pete Carroll, like them the only 2. Like he has to be coach of the year if he gets 9 wins after starting 1-6.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
this is so good. I'm all in on this. All right.
I don't think I wanted the Lions to ever win as much as I do now.
I gotta lather up more in my Lions, baby. Can you imagine the trifecta?
Hey, welcome back, by the way.
Oh, baby,
welcome back.
How did it feel? How did it feel to take some time away and now come back to the Detroit Lions?
I told you you'd be back.
Real good.
I told you.
Real good. I'm fine.
Just when you were out, they pulled you
guess
back
what?
in.
And that's how they do at the blackjack tables. They bring you right back in, take all your money.
Right. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. We'll go around the NFL. Oh, man, that game in Mexico last night, you see it?
Oh, you bet I did. With the Super Bowl champion playing?
I'm telling you, the 49ers are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. We'll talk about the 49ers, and we'll get to the NFL. But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning.
That's right, guys. And if you join the Pepper Club, they're going to save you $5 against any competitor on unlimited tanning. You get the cleanest salons in the D. It's your vitamin D headquarters. The Chili Pepper girls will make you feel right at home. They're going to take great care of you because they got the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. They are ChiliPeppersTanning.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Detroit Lions, 3-game winning streak. You know who they partner with as well as the Red Wings? They partner with Centron. That's right. Pre-order your limited edition Centron 6-pack. Right now, CentronWorld.com/Red Wings. They have partnered with the Detroit Lions, the Pistons, and the Red Wings, and WoodwardSports.com to bring you new energy and pick the city up. So why don't you let them drink it, live it with Centron.
All right, Tom Mazawey, let's do it. Let's go around the NFL, my friend.
Hey, a big win last night for the 49ers in Mexico City. 38-10 on Monday Night Football. 4 touchdowns for Jimmy Garoppolo. 2 go to George Kittle, and 2 go to Brandon Ayuk. And that's all you needed last night because the 49er defense took care of the rest against the depleted Arizona Cardinals. They can't run the ball. They have Colt McCoy as their quarterback. Enough said. I think Cliff Kingsbury is cooked.
Is there a better skill group than Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle?
I don't think so.
You say you don't?
Because even in Kansas City with Kelsey, I don't know where your Debo is.
Christian McCaffrey.
Dolphins have a nice combo.
Yeah.
But that's
the Dolphins. You got Jeff Wilson, Mostert,
and they got
Waddle,
Tua.
Tyreek Hill with
Jeff Wilson.
With the Buffalo Bills, Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen.
They can't run it.
They can't run it.
49ers are loaded.
Eagles.
Yeah.
Eagles, you got Jalen Hurts. You have Miles Sanders in the backfield. Then you have Goddard as well as A.J. Brown and Smith.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
You're right, though.
They're in an elite company. Let's say.
Top 4.
Top 4, at least. Top 3, maybe.
That's because, realistically, it doesn't seem like anybody can run the ball. Like teams aren't really having a good time running the ball. And then you look at the Cowboys. They can run the ball a little bit, but they can't throw it to their receivers.
Right.
At least not anybody other than CeeDee Lamb. That's the other thing about what you saw out of the offense for Kyle Shanahan. The backup running back, man, he's legit. Now they have 2 legit running backs. They get rid of Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, and then replace him with Christian McCaffrey. And then who's number 5? I can't think. Moore. They're a good team, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, what was going on over there?
Gotta be some sort of
mafia member?
No, star, something like that.
A star?
Yeah,
that's car service.
Yeah, that's like major car service.
What type of car is it?
Well, that's a car service, and that is escort.
Escort.
Not like a lady escort.
I was like man,
security detail escort.
Okay.
Sure, it's not Goff.
It's not Jared Goff. No. I wish I knew who it was. Who's in town tonight?
Is it Chad? Sneaking in.
Sorry, man. Continue.
All right. How about it? Let's go over to Steve Smith. First of all, Baker Mayfield doesn't have many friends left.
Oh, my God.
I think I'm literally the only guy that thinks he can do anything. And I mean,
I want you to die on that hill, too,
man. The only guy that thinks Baker Mayfield's worth the crap is me. Steve Smith creamed him. First of all, let's go to the pros.
Okay.
Shannon Sharp on whatever the hell show that is.
Uncle Shay.
Yeah, he absolutely demolished Baker Mayfield, calling him finished, washed up. Skip Bayless was sticking up for him. But read what Steve Smith said.
He says, why is he saying I when he prepares? But in the lack of execution, he's saying we didn't execute. I'm trying to calm myself down, but this 3-legged donkey that's playing quarterback, it's tough. Let me tell you, it's tough to watch.
It's 100% real. It's 100% real. It's kind of like the Zach Wilson quote when he said, no, I don't feel like I let him down. Meanwhile, he just happens to be 5 years older than Zach Wilson. The people that talk about Baker Mayfield, and the reason why I asked that question, man, is because it's not just people that don't like him. It's not people just saying a bunch of stuff. It's also people supporting it with tons and tons of information and stats and data and QBR and everything.
Yeah, I see it.
Look, man, Baker Mayfield is a lost cause. He is a lost cause. Look, I saw Baker at Oklahoma too. I thought he was cool at Oklahoma. Yeah, he planted the flag at Columbus. I don't like Ohio State either. I said, you know what? It's Baker Mayfield. I saw him dancing and doing the Dougie, doing the whip and the nay-nay. I said, you know what? Might be something to this Baker Mayfield, but there's not. And it's over.
I'm not going to argue. I guess it is what it is. I'd still give him a chance if I was an NFL guy. I think I would give him a chance in the right situation.
Very, very hard to come by.
That's why I'm not in the NFL, I guess. Kirk Cousins' touchdown pass streak ended against Dallas. This was a hell of a streak he had going there, right?
39 straight games without a touchdown pass. A streak of 39 straight games with a touchdown pass, I should say. Yeah, it's a 425 game. Kirk Cousins only plays well in 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, this is heartbreaking. this is heartbreaking because I was actually like you and Baker Mayfield. I support Kirk Cousins. I don't know what it is about him. I always said, you know what, you got to give him a chance. He's been successful everywhere. I get it. The Monday night prime time, maybe not, but he's he's gonna do it. You know, he's got the right people around. If you pull me in, he can't get it done. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. Now, on the other side, in New York, the Jets, Robert Saleh, I think, has pretty much had it with Zach Wilson, at least with his attitude. He might not start him.
He is not committing to the quarterback, Zach Wilson, as the starter for Sunday's game against the Bears.
Look at these numbers. Put up these numbers that he has run. They're horrendous.
Last in the NFL in completion percentage, 2021, 2022. Last in the NFL last year in passer rating. Second worst in the NFL this year. And somehow, some way, the Jets are fighting for a playoff berth.
They got a lot of talent on that team. They're just not striking gold. Give Mike White another chance.
Here's the thing about that. This is a guy you picked 2 years ago as number 2 overall pick.
Yep.
This is your franchise. This is the guy that you said was going to take you guys to the next level. It's been 2 years. You guys are in a chance to fight for a playoff spot. If you don't play him this game, if you don't start him this game,
it's over.
You got to understand, like, athletes are a little different now. I'm not talking athletes out a little more sensitive, a little more, like, walk away from it, a little more transfer portal, a little more scrubbing my social, asking for a trade. If you do a move like this in year 2, second year, where you're fighting for the playoffs, number 2 overall draft pick, he's your guy, and you bench him, guarantee he won't want to play for the Jets anymore. His whole attitude, demeanor, and everything is going to change. If you're ready to be done with Zach Wilson, which maybe you are, then okay, do it. But if you're not ready to be done with him, and you're going to try to bring him back in, you're going to be in for a rude awakening with these young players the way they are today. I wouldn't bench him if I still plan on making him my guy.
That's a great take.
Because he's going to completely tune out after you bench him. It's over.
By the way, it's the 10-year anniversary of Mark Sanchez's butt fumble.
Wasn't on that team.
10-year anniversary. Let's keep it at quarterbacks. Brian, this one's for you.
Okay.
Jameis Winston is very upset.
I saw this. It hurt me too.
Very upset.
This hurt me too. Jameis Winston says, "It hurts my soul. I lost my job due to injury, and the policy was always policy. And policy has always been you don't lose your job because of injury."
Tell that to Drew Bledsoe.
Who doesn't love this guy? If you don't love Jameis Winston, I don't want to know you.
Eat a W.
I don't want to know you.
Eat one.
I'm not going to eat one.
Come on, eat a W.
He's not eating any W's anytime soon. But if you don't love Jameis Winston, I don't want to know you.
He's a good person. You can tell he comes from good family, like good soul, like good down. Like he's just a good dude. Like he's made some mistakes, but hell, who hasn't made a million mistakes? He's a good dude, and you want to see him do well. You know what I'm thinking for him, which is going to be perfect. I think it's his next step, coaching. Like, I think he would be a great coach. Like, I think he would be a great, I'm not saying head coach, whatever, but great coach. I think he wants to give the game back. You see him do a lot in the offseason. So, mark him down as a coach.
Do you think he's lost it?
No, I'm just saying he will be a great coach at some point. It's not about losing. I don't know if he ever had it realistically, but I'm just saying, like, there's 2 injuries in 2 years in a row. It's 2 injuries. You're looking at, like, he just came back from an injury, only to get injured again. Like, when you start seeing it like that, and a guy's been in the league, 10, 11, 12, 13 years, you start to know that it's over.
Hey, just quickly, going back to Zach Wilson,
although it's been 9 years.
The MILF hunter?
Every team misses on draft choices, right?
Not as much as the Jets.
Every team, but when you miss in a draft like this, okay, forget about Trey Lance who was taken after him. You ready for the guys that will go after him?
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater. Friggin' 10 for 10.
And
but they needed a quarterback.
You know what makes it so bad?
Those players, though, are studs.
You know what's so bad about that, Matt? You're absolutely right. Well, they've needed a quarterback since Chad Pennington left and went to Miami. Exactly. What sucks about that, they needed every last one of those positions in that draft. Yeah, they needed wide receivers in that draft because they didn't have Garrett Wilson or Corey Davis. Needed a wide receiver. They only had Robbie Moore. Needed a lineman because Becton wasn't even there yet. Becton was there now. He's been injured. They needed a running back. They needed every position in that draft, and they got Zach Wilson.
Man, oh man. Guys, we're going to take a break. News regarding Deion Sanders. News regarding Lane Kiffin. We'll get to that next. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts, have been for over 90 years. You see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Stay out. Thank you, Fletch. Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what is important to you, stay safe. Call that number right now, 1-800-STAY-OUT. 1-800-STAY-OUT. Get out of here.
Get out of
Stay
here.
out. Call them today. Tell Woodward, Sports Center.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Today's the day, gang. November 22nd. It is 99-cent Big Boy Day with the purchase of a Pepsi at your participating Big Boy locations. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy. 99-cent Big Boys. Check them out at bigboy.com. See who's doing it. See the participating locations and check out the information. All you got to do is buy a Pepsi and you get a 99-cent Big Boy.
By the way, this could be the greatest tweet of all time. I want to thank JB for showing it, and we'll show it to you tomorrow maybe. Melvin Gordon's farewell post on his Instagram. It's him driving the OJ Bronco. And he says, ha 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 ha. Boy, y'all fans was hell. LMAFAOO. Thank y'all, Broncos country. Let's at least laugh on the way out. How great is that?
Wow.
He superimposed himself driving the OJ Bronco.
He didn't fumble the keys, did he?
So great. Man, running backs, though, when they go, man. It's over. It is Melvin Gordon was one of the best backs in the league for a handful of years. And it goes, man.
Yeah, Melvin was always an enigma, and because he had obviously the 2,600 yards and 28 touchdowns in Wisconsin his junior year, and he goes to the Chargers. But, like, he had some years where, like, you saw flashes, but he never just, like, put it all together. It's like, it's almost always there. It's like, man, he missed 5 games, but if he missed them 5 games, he was on a run. Like, oh, well, he had a couple fumbles, but it was always not completely there, but he had the potential. Yeah.
No doubt about it.
He definitely had that potential.
No doubt about it. Hey, guys, I want to ask you about we'll do maybe Lane Kiffin tomorrow, maybe when we know more information.
Yeah, it's fine.
Deion
More
Sanders.
information. We know more information. Auburn can win the national championship. Ole Miss can't.
I don't.
But he said he's not going.
Yeah, that's the thing. He says he's not going. That's
okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to ask you about Deion. Deion contacted by Colorado and South Florida for head coaching gigs. I will tell you this much: I do expect Deion Sanders to go to a Power 5 school because, as he said in that 60 Minutes report a couple of weeks ago, he's like, look, I want to take care of my head coaches. I want to take care of my assistant coaches. They got families. I want to take care of them. And probably going to have to go to a Power 5 school, going to have to listen to some offers in order to do that. I think Deion can do better than Colorado and South Florida. Maybe South Florida, I don't know, but I think Deion can do way better. I wouldn't even look at Colorado.
Yeah, but I don't know how, I don't know the in-depth of the article. I don't know if this is just some teams that reached out to him or if this is somebody that he's been in contact with, but he's not going to Colorado, a team that can't win, won't even have a conference in a couple of years. And then also South Florida, give me a freaking break. I know he's from Florida, but he ain't going to South Florida. He was aiming for effect. He's enjoying what he's building down there. Obviously, there's there still are some things that you have to get over when you're at HBCU. Like you even look at one point this year, Mississippi didn't have clean water, so his players couldn't take showers and things of that nature. So I think some of that is starting to beat him down a little bit as he's undefeated and doing his thing. But he's building that culture up, and that's the HBCU culture for a reason, and I don't think he's going to leave this soon. If he does go to a Power 5, which I ultimately don't think he'll go to, but if he does do that, it won't be for at least another 2 years while he can still kind of get this infrastructure implemented so that it stays implemented in the HBCU when he leaves.
I think, obviously, the best thing for – I think society would be as if Deion Sanders stated.
I agree.
Right.
Because you just don't want to see him go to – I don't want to see him go to Florida State or see him go to Oregon or see him go to insert school here that wants to call Deion and get him on the phone, which is everywhere. I don't want to see him go there and then not have the same success that he's enjoying and the way in which he's doing it. If he goes to those schools, now you get other things involved, politics involved, you get regions involved, you're starting to deal with other aspects. I don't know. I don't want that to happen.
I understand. That 60 Minutes interview, though, that was pretty powerful. He was pretty clear.
You texted me that night.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. Well, when you see it, like, because I think all of us want him to stay there.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the impact that he's making.
You just want more donors. Like, shit, people just donate. Help him out.
It's amazing. The impact that he's making.
The tax write-offs anyway. Donate some money.
Right. It's
donate some money.
Give him some.
How many
new uniforms?
How many buildings is Ann Arbor need? Go send some money down to Mississippi.
And we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Cade Cunningham.
He's back on the court.
I know, but is he?
They showed yesterday.
Are you worried about Cade Cunningham?
No, I'm not worried.
Is your mic off, or is this just my?
No, that's on.
Okay, sorry.
I'm talking.
Do you have any concerns about Cade Cunningham at all moving forward?
No, at worst, you bench him the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I don't care. Sit him out. Make sure he's healthy. They play. Who do they play tonight? The Kings. Let me see. No, they play.
No,
Denver.
they just lost to the Kings.
They play at Denver tonight. They're reeling. I mean, they got to start winning some games here. I read a lot of stuff about their head coach, and he's got to go. If he can't do this, he can't do that. Is this time for them to start putting a couple games together? I know they're on the West trip. It's hard to win out West.
Yeah, I'm extremely understanding of it's November. You still got to get to December, congruency, chemistry. I get all that. I just never was a huge fan of Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. Like, you know how, like, I was looking at that draft, and I wasn't as dialed in to, like, now I'm more dialed in. I'm learning, Pistons, et cetera, I'm watching the moves happen daily. I'm reading the articles daily. I wasn't as dialed in. Then I'm like, who's this Oklahoma State guy? I was like, number one overall? I don't see it. Then when people were comparing them like Grant Hill, I'm like, not at all. I think Grant Hill wasn't like that. It's a different type of player. So I'm trying to give him the benefit. Like, as everybody gets excited, like, man, you see the leadership and the triple-double aspect. I'm like, yeah, I see that, but I also, like, not excited.
It's just one of those years where you get the number one pick. Look, Cade Cunningham's going to be fine. He's going to be a really good player in this league. But is he going to be LeBron James number one? Is he going to be,
as long as he's not Darko, I'm good.
Zion Williamson number one. You get a number one in a year.
You want to see John Morant,
right? You get a number one in a year where there's just nobody in the. I mean, look, Franz Wagner was number 8. Yeah. Josh Giddey was number 6. Jalen Green number 2. I mean, there's just nobody in that draft that's going to carry your franchise alone.
It's almost like the Lions having the number 2 pick in last year's draft.
Well, right, and now Hutchinson looks like a pretty darn good player.
But you wanted a quarterback.
Right, yeah.
You wanted a quarterback, and but you didn't know about it. But now Hutchinson's panning out.
Absolutely.
But it was, for a second, it was like,
Yeah.
Hey, and we get the 2027 Final Four here in Detroit.
Yeah, that's right.
Coming to Ford Field, man. That's our second one here in Detroit. Congratulations to the city of Detroit. It's going to be great.
First one, Michigan State and North Carolina.
Yeah, I was there too.
Steph Curry's Final Four.
Wisconsin.
I was there.
With Davidson.
That was the first time I had an opportunity to be in the same room and stand so close to Michael Jordan. There's just a difference when you're around a guy like that. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. I had an opportunity to interview Tiger Woods. There's just a difference from interviewing an athlete and then interviewing Tiger Woods, standing next to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Interviewing Derek Jeter. There's just
I was with him at the Michigan State game.
There's just different guys that you're like, man, this is pretty damn
You're right
cool.
about that.
You know what the energy is, and we have 3 minutes. This is perfect. The energy is crazy about that is you've been in a lot of rooms with guys. I've been in a lot of rooms with entertainers. I've been in a lot of rooms with those people, right, or good people, or Hall of Fame, whatever. It's when you see certain people, whether it's Tiger, whether it's Serena, whether it's Derek Jeter, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Kobe, rest in peace. When you see other Hall of Famers like looking when they're not looking, or staring at them, or their hands kind of shaking as they're about to go introduce themselves, or they're about to be introduced to said person. When you see Hall of Famers, when you see guys that are Heisman Trophy winners, Hall of Famers, whatever it is, at the highest level, when they look nervous, when they look like the 7-year-old kid about to be, that's when you know you're in the presence of greatness.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Hell of a show today, guys. Bray, get us out of here.
Hell of a show. Dan Miller, appreciate you. And also want to say thanks again to Big Brother Charles Woodson, the greatest player in Michigan history as well as college for me. And you heard what he said. He is objectively biased, so Michigan will win. So I got to jump on that bandwagon as well. But great show, JB. Crushed it as always. Fletch, appreciate you on the graphics and everything. In the morning, Maz, my guy on the couch. Ryan and Ermanni, this is getting good, man. We're getting closer and closer to game week. I mean, between these guys,
oh man,
potentially winning, going to the Big Ten championship, and between these guys sneaking in playoff contention, what is going on here?
You know what time it is.
I don't know what's going on here, but
Go
I like
blue.
It. There it is.
Duck coming.
Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. We'll see you tomorrow.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.